Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a truly fascinating corner of a famous institution, and honestly, what it can teach us all about finding deep purpose in a completely superficial world. We're going to unpack the world of observant Freemasonry. Whether you're already deeply familiar with Masonic history, or you're just kind of curious about how historic traditions survive today, this explainer is designed to give you a clear, structured look at a movement that is literally reshaping the way this ancient brotherhood operates. Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand observant Freemasonry, we first have to ask a big question. What actually happens when a centuries-old brotherhood forgets its own original purpose? For much of the 20th century, particularly in the United States and Canada, mainstream Freemasonry experienced massive, unprecedented growth. But with that growth, came a drift. Lodges often turned into these massive social clubs, heavily focused on exoteric charity or just casual fellowship. Critics within the fraternity started to notice that the deeper initiatory, educational, and philosophical purposes of the institution were being entirely sidelined. The focus had shifted to quantity over quality, turning some lodges into what critics essentially called degree mills.
So here is our roadmap for the explainer today. First, a return to original ideals. 2, decorum for deeper reflection. 3, the power of 50 members. 4, intellectual growth and written papers. 5, selective membership and sustainability. And finally, maintaining the initiatic purpose. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. A return to original ideals. To really grasp this movement, we have to look back at the historical shift back to its original foundational ideals. Modern speculative Freemasonry formally emerged with the establishment of the first Grand Lodge in London, way back in 1717. This was the Enlightenment era. Lodges were actually designed as spaces for transformative work, where individuals engaged in serious self-betterment through esoteric wisdom and moral instruction. But fast forward to the 20th century, and we hit that decline into the degree mills we just mentioned. American Freemasonry grew way too fast and strayed from that original intent. Then, by the early 2000s, sparked by new academic research into the rich philosophy of early Masonry, the modern observant movement emerged. And the key thing here is, it wasn't about inventing something new. It was about consciously returning to those 1717 roots.
The divide here is pretty stark. On one side, you've got mainstream 20th century lodges, which often gravitated toward casual, quantity-focused social gatherings. But on the other side, observant lodges act as demanding, solemn, and deeply philosophical laboratories. The term observant was deliberately chosen by Masonic writers like Andrew Hammer. It literally means diligently observing the original intent of speculative Masonry's founders. The whole goal is creating an environment for actual moral, intellectual, and spiritual development, rather than just hosting a casual dinner club.
Section 2, decorum for deeper reflection.
If a lodge is a laboratory for spiritual development, the environment has to reflect that. Modern lodges use specific ceremonial decorum to foster much deeper reflection. Observant lodges demand precise, dignified execution of ritual directly from memory. Members wear dark suits and ties, alongside traditional white gloves, which reflects a profound reverence. But it goes way beyond just clothing. They use controlled lighting, the burning of incense, and formal music. This isn't just about aesthetics, right? This ceremonial decorum is a meticulously crafted tool designed to literally pull members out of the mundane, distracted, everyday world and drop them into a state of deep inner reflection.
Picture this. Imagine sitting alone in a small, solemn, and heavily symbolic space. This is the chamber of reflection. Before a candidate even takes a degree, they're often placed right here. Sometimes they are even taken to a cemetery beforehand to meditate. This physical space is meant to strip away the outside world and prompt deep psychological and spiritual introspection. It forces the candidate into a calmed, highly receptive mindset before the initiation even begins.
Section 3, the power of 50 members.
Alongside the physical atmosphere, the structural scale changes completely. 50. That's it. In many observant lodges, particularly those practicing what is known as the European concept, this number is a strict ceiling. They enforce a hard membership cap, usually keeping the lodge somewhere between 35 and 50 members.
So, why 50? Well, it actually aligns perfectly with modern science. Dunbar's number is a sociological theory proposing that 30 to 50 members is the absolute optimal size for a close-knit community. Once you go over 50, subgrouping naturally occurs, cliques form, and that core intimacy is just lost. By limiting lodge size to exactly 50 members, observant lodges maintain incredibly strong fraternal bonds. Every single member plays a visible, vital role. And because of this, lodges adopting this model frequently see attendance rates around a staggering 80%. which is a massive departure from the sparsely attended lodge rooms of the mid-20th century.
Section 4. Intellectual Growth and Written Papers.
Now, observant Masonry is not a passive experience. It is a seriously demanding intellectual journey. Let's see how this builds into the advancement process. While mainstream Masonry can sometimes move guys through quite fast, in observant lodges, a new member might spend a year or two just to earn a single advancement. Step 1. They absolutely must read carefully curated, specific Masonic texts. Step 2. They must write original Masonic papers, which are traditionally called planches or pieces of architecture. And Step 3. They have to demonstrate true proficiency, meaning memorizing complex catechisms and reproducing tracing boards. This strict requirement for written papers ensures actual intellectual growth among newer members. You can't just show up. You literally have to do the work to unlock the inherent moral and philosophical power of the craft.
Section 5. Selective Membership and Sustainability.
You might be wondering, how do these lodges survive if they make it so notoriously difficult to join? Well, they survive exactly because they make it difficult. Observant Masons believe deeply in guarding the West Gate, a careful, highly selective process for admitting new members. Prospective candidates undergo an extended period of interaction, often having to provide resumes and undergo background checks. And this all culminates in the low-door blindfold ceremony, where the candidate is brought into the lodge completely blindfolded and subjected to deep philosophical questioning before the lodge even votes on them. Plus, these lodges charge substantially higher dues, sometimes thousands of dollars a year, so they never have to rely on public fundraisers to pay their bills. By making membership hard to obtain and valuable to keep, the lodge ensures profound dedication. It has a huge long-term impact on lodge sustainability and member retention.
And the data completely backs this up. Take a look at these numbers. While overall U.S. membership has plummeted by around 10 to 12% every 3 years, the rigorous, highly demanding, observant model actually shows consistent positive growth. This perfectly proves that quality retains members way better than quantity. When you ask more of people and when they invest more time and resources into a selective community, they value the experience significantly more over the long term.
Section 6. Maintaining the Initiatic Purpose. All of this intense structure leads to one overarching goal, and it's captured perfectly in a historic plea from Dwight L. Smith back in 1963. Writing at the absolute height of American Masonry's numerical peak but philosophical decline, Smith looked at the superficial fellowship and simply pleaded, "Try Freemasonry." He urged the fraternity to strip away the innovations, the rush degrees, and the low fees, and just return to making good men better. Observant Masonry is essentially the modern answer to that call. Because at the end of the day, observant Freemasonry views the lodge as exactly this, a true laboratory for personal, moral, and spiritual regeneration. The intellectual rigor, the required written papers, the solemn decorum, none of these things are just for show. They are the absolute essential tools required for maintaining the craft's initiatic purpose. It's an active, deeply engaged philosophical practice meant to completely transform the individual.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. In today's highly distracted, incredibly fast-paced world, what is the true value of an intense, focused, and deeply purposeful community? Observant Freemasonry suggests that by looking to the past, by demanding more of ourselves, and by engaging in rigorous, solemn traditions, we might just find the profound meaning we are all searching for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this sparked your curiosity, and I encourage you to keep learning and keep asking those big questions.